my fellow homesteaders. I hope you're doing well. I miss seeing you, but I'm loving getting to do these learning opportunities together this week. I'm going to be bringing you some videos about crochet. This video is going to be for anyone who is a bit experienced with crochet. They know how to work from a pattern, they know their stitches, but I want to teach you some new little tips and tricks for making your project look a little bit more polished, clean looking. So I hope that you find this helpful. I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera around so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so now we are going to be talking about some little tips and tricks for giving your crochet projects a little bit more polished look to them. So we're going to start off here with when you're working a single crochet pattern. So typically with single crochet, in order to get that height for the next row, we are told to chain one to get up there. But as you can see, this kind of creates this little humpy side here, and it's kind of stretchy, and which, you know, sometimes you may want some stretch, like if you're making some sort of cuff or, you know, that sort of thing. But generally this, you know, bumpy look here and the stretch isn't necessarily ideal if you're trying to create something that looks really clean and nice. So let's take a look here at this one. Now you see here, this one is much less bumpy here. We got a little bit, tiny bit of a bump, but definitely much straighter than this one. And you don't have that same stretchiness there that this one had. So now I'm going to show you how to get that height on your single crochet without having to do that chain one at the beginning of your row. All right, so let's go ahead and get our foundation chain here. Okay, so normally here you would go ahead and chain one extra. So I'm going to go ahead and have you chain one extra, but that last chain, rather than using that to get the height, I'm going to have you pull it tight. Okay? Now, rather than doing that chain to get the height, you're going to pull that out just a little bit there. Okay? So make your loop a little bigger. You're going to insert there into that first chain, yarn over, pull up just like normal, and go ahead and pull through. So now that extended loop is giving you that height that you need. So let's go ahead and work across here. And having that extra stitch that you pull tight is going to help keep that first stitch there kind of tighter and cleaner and easier to create. At first I was not putting that extra tightened stitch in there, and it was a bit of a bear trying to, oops, I'm catching on a string there, to get that first one done on the first row. The rest of the rows were easy because there was automatically that tightness from the previous row, but having that tightened stitch makes that one a lot easier. All right, so now we're to the end of our row. We'll flip it over here and pull that up there to get that height. And go ahead and work our single crochet. And there you go. See, you've got that height there. All right, and then when you get to this last one, you just got to make sure you're working through both of those loops there. Okay. So that is how you can work a single crochet without that beginning chain, and you're going to get that nice smooth edge there. All right, so single crochet, that's not too far of a distance to have to go up, right? What about double crochet? Well, let's take a look here at double crochet. So normally you're going to work your double crochet as the 3 chains at the beginning of the row, and that's going to count as your first stitch, right? So let's take a look at this here with the chainless double crochet at the beginning. You can see here, oops, sorry. You can see that this is just slightly smoother than this, and you've got a nice uniform, you can see here, you look at it and you can tell that's not the same thing. But you look here at this, and that's going to look pretty much the same there. You also, with this one, you get kind of a bigger gap there between the chains. Not so much with this one. All right, so now how do we get that height with the double crochet? All right, so let's come back here to our chain. Now with this one, you are going to have to make a very slight adjustment to your pattern on that foundation chain, because you're no longer chaining those 3 extra stitches for that first stitch. Well, I guess more like 2 extra. So you need to look at what the stitch count is for the first row. So whatever your stitch count is for the first row, you're going to chain that number of chains plus that one that you are then going to tighten up. Okay, so now you go ahead and pull that out to the height of the double crochet, and then it's really important, you have to use this finger here to hold that top in place so it's not sliding around, because you're going to wrap this around here. If you let go of that, that's just going to slide all around your hook. And then you're going to insert into that chain, yarn over, pull it up, yarn over, and then you're going to pull through that loop and what was wrapped around the hook, yarn over, and pull through. All right, now there you go. That was pretty nice looking, right? And this will look a little loose up here until you get it worked from the previous row. Let's go ahead and work across here and show you coming from the next row. All right, so now we're ready to work our next row. So we're going to turn it here, and we're going to pull up again to get that double crochet height. Hold on to that, wrap it around, insert through that top on the chain, wrap, pull through, and then through both of those. Wrap and through there. Okay. And again, that's going to be your first stitch instead of those chain 3. So you have to learn to read the pattern just slightly differently, but it's going to give you a nicer finished product. Okay, so now we're down here. Time to work into that last one there. So you got to make sure you're catching the right loops here that create that top. Okay. Oops, I got a little separated. Okay. And you pull through, yarn over, and pull through. There you go. You can see there is that worked in the double crochet. So you have this nice clean look that you don't have that 3 chain that stands out as being different. All right, so now we're going to talk about working in a circle. So usually when you work a circle, you've got those chain 3s in there that are going to be all noticeable, and generally you're gonna have the slip stitch here that you're gonna see that little bar across there from your slip stitch, and a lot of patterns will tell you that when you're doing your increases that you'll work 2 into the first stitch and then work around from there with your increases. So what you end up with is, okay, so here's your beginning of your joins, and then they kind of like migrate over around this way, whoop, and you get this spiraling around. So I'm going to show you some tricks to, first off, you're going to use that double crochet, chainless double crochet at the beginning that I just taught you. Second, I'm going to show you a different way to join so you're not getting these little bars on here. And third, I'm going to show you a way to do your increases so that you are not getting this spiral off to the right. Okay, so I went ahead and already set up my first and second rounds since there's not particularly any new information there. So now let's start with the join. So normally we learn to join in the round by inserting through the front, yarning over, pull through, and pull that over to create a slip stitch. But a better way so that you don't have that bar there is to insert through the back of your stitch rather than through the front. Then you put that loop back onto your hook and you pull it through there. So now that's going to look much more like the tops on the other stitches, and you won't have that bar there that you've worked through. Now we'll go ahead and do that chainless double crochet and insert. Oops, I didn't quite get that extended enough. A little bit more. All right, go ahead and work through that. All right, so there we've got that nice chainless beginning double crochet rather than having those chains. And now normally they would tell you to work 2 into this one, 1 into that one, 2 into that one. Instead, we're only going to work 1 here. And then we're going to do 2 into the next one. Because see, when you work the 2 stitches in at that first stitch, what it's creating is creating this bulk that keeps moving that join line around that way. Whereas if you're putting that added bulk this way, it's going to keep that lined up, because crochet kind of naturally wants to work this way on its own a little. And if you're changing the location of that added bulk, it's going to help counteract that. So we work around here with our alternating, working 1 double crochet and working 2 double crochet. And this, these same, joins and increase patterns apply whether you're working the single crochet or double crochet, whatever you're doing. It works either way. Oops, looks like I got a little tie here in my yarn. That's what happens when you use leftover yarn. Oops, that didn't come through there. All right, where am I at here? All right, sorry, this part takes a little time. All right. This is fun getting to do these tutorials with you guys, because I've been working on teaching my oldest son how to crochet as well. He's been interested in learning, so he's getting to watch along as I'm doing these videos, and he's picking up some new skills and things. Almost around here. And then I want to show you a way to bind off your circle here so that that edge is nice and clean. And alright, so now to join that together at the end of your project and have a nice clean edge there, I'm gonna grab my scissors. Alright, so I'm going to cut off my tail here. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull this through before we join, and then you can either do this with a needle or just with your crochet hook, but you're gonna take that first stitch, you're gonna go through between the V here, you're gonna go through that the front loop, you're gonna pull that through, or I'm sorry, you're gonna go through both of them. Sorry, you're gonna go through both. Yeah, let me do this again. I'll cut that out. Okay, so you're gonna pull that through, then you're going to go through just like you were doing that join before from the back. My yarn is loose and I'm catching extra fibers. All right, pull this through there. Then you're going to come to that last stitch, go through the back loop from behind, and you're going to pull it through there. Then you can pull that tight, and you can see now that that looks like it's just uniform with the rest of the edging there. So I'm going to undo that and do it once more since we had a little trouble. All right, so if you're using it as doing it with a needle, that's why I got a little confused at first. If you're doing it with a needle, you're going to take your needle and insert it through the front and pull it around, and then insert through the middle there between the two loops on the last stitch. But if you're using your crochet hook to do it, then you need to insert through the back, pull the yarn through, oops, then you're going to insert through the back, but only through the back loop, and then pull that through and pull it tight. And there you go, you've got that nice clean edge there. And you won't have that knot that's kind of humping things up, and it won't look all goofy along the edge. It's going to be nice and clean and uniform. So there are my tips and tricks for getting a nice, clean, uniform looking project. If you have any questions, feel free to message me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.